This video is going to change the way you make macaroni and cheese from scratch forever, because this is the easiest mac and cheese recipe on the internet. You won't need to make a fancy cheese sauce, and it doesn't use any processed cheese product, yet look at how creamy and good that looks. Better yet, this entire recipe is done in one pot. You're not even going to need your cheese grater. The secret is in a special technique that I'm going to share with you that will allow you to turn your fresh wholesome milk, real cheddar cheese, and pantry macaroni into this saucy, creamy macaroni and cheese. It's so effortless that when you try it, you might never bother with another mac and cheese recipe again. Now, I'm only going to be making half a recipe than what's on the blog because I'm the only one that's here today eating this, and it's a good way to show you guys that you can half the recipe. So into this saucepan, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of milk, half a cup of water, 3/4 of a cup of macaroni, and I really like using this elbow macaroni, but you can use the small shells too, or any other short pasta. It will work great. So we'll add those in there. And half of 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So I'm gonna put 1.5 quarter teaspoons in there. Okay, I'm gonna bring this to a boil over medium heat. And while that happens, you don't really have to babysit it that much. Just stir it from time to time to make sure that the pasta isn't sticking to the bottom of the pot. So I'm just going to kind of leave that for now. Keep an eye on it. And once you do start to see it boiling like this, reduce the heat down to medium-low. So I'm going to bring my heat down a little bit and let it cook gently like this for about 3 minutes. You want to give the macaroni a chance to become just under al dente, so still pretty firm but maybe half cooked. And every now and then you can give it a stir just to make sure nothing is sticking. We're looking pretty good here. Now while that's cooking, I have here some cheddar cheese, and for a half recipe you're going to need about 3/4 of a cup. You can grate your cheese with a cheese grater like this, but I hate washing these, so I'm just going to go ahead and chop mine into little pieces. I would much rather wash a knife than a cheese grater because it's way easier, and I'm probably going to be using the cutting board for something else anyway. 3/4 of a cup of cheese is about 85 grams. So there we have it. You don't want to chop it too small. I actually really like using chunks of cheese because they don't always all melt 100%, and it gives the macaroni and cheese a little bit more of a home style look. So there we go. We have our cheese ready. All right, it's been cooking for exactly 3 minutes. So now I'm going to take my wooden spoon and start mixing it vigorously like this. Just mix it really fast. This is the most important step to making this mac and cheese, and you want to do this for about 3 minutes. And the reason why it's so important is because doing this is releasing a lot of the starch from the macaroni, and it's thickening the milk. And all the while the pasta is continuing to cook. It's cooking the rest of the way. We really want to take it to al dente at this point. So just keep doing this for about 2 to 3 more minutes. And my heat's on medium-low, so number 3 out of 10. And after that 3 to 4 more minutes of cooking and stirring quickly like this, I'm noticing that that milk is starting to thicken. It's probably going to take closer to 4 minutes of cooking and stirring like this. But you can really see here that that milk is turning into a sauce. And this process is very similar to making risotto. If you've ever made risotto, you have to really stir the rice when you add the stock so that it thickens and creates a bit of a sauce. Now maybe you can notice here that that milk has really thickened into a sauce. You see that? It's almost like a bechamel sauce. All right, now this is the point where you'll want to add the cheese. And you just go ahead and stir it right in. Just go ahead and give it a good mix so that it all melts. And don't worry if you end up having a few chunks of cheese remaining, because that just adds to the home style look. You can see here how good and cheesy that looks. I'm going to shut off the heat. Just look at how creamy that is. Doesn't that look amazing? Now you might want to add a little bit more milk or cream if you have it, because sometimes this can get a little on the dry side, especially if it's your first time making it. But look at how wonderful that looks, just with another couple of tablespoons of milk added. Or if you have cream, just go ahead and use that. But doesn't that look incredible? Look how creamy that turns out. And there was hardly any effort at all involved in this. No multiple pots. You didn't have to make a roux or do any tedious steps. Now all we need to do is take this and serve it up. Now if you wanted to, you could take this mac and cheese a little further by adding some cooked broccoli florets, maybe some peas or spinach, or how about a can of tuna? Go ahead and make it your own masterpiece. One thing is for sure, this is by far the easiest way to make it. So enjoy, and if you like this recipe, I bet you're gonna love this homemade hamburger helper.